When Juliette defied the silo's authorities in Season 1, she immediately sealed her fate. In the Silo Season 1 finale, Bernard and Sims had already determined to set her up by stating that she wants to leave the silo when they initially caught her at the crop fields. But after she manages to avoid being apprehended, she violates a number of other silo laws, making it practically impossible for her to be found not guilty. Although Bernard appears to want to punish her by kicking her out in the finale of Silo Season 1, his closing remarks imply that he has deeper motivations. Bernard explains to Juliette in the Silo Season 1 finale that every life in the silo is valued, and that due of her technical advancements beneath, she was one of the most significant residents of the underground metropolis. Bernard's admission to Juliette shows that he is not offended by her resistance, and that, given the chance, he would even keep her in the silo. Because he has no other option, he forces her to leave the silo. He understands that the residents of the city will stop taking the silo's laws seriously if she persists despite breaching every other regulation in the silo. As a result, people won't launch a rebellion because they let fear distort their sense of right and evil. And since the outside world is poisonous, a revolt could eventually result in the destruction of the silo if the residents become overly curious and choose to open the hatch that protects them. Bernard sends Juliette outside in an effort to keep the silo in order and to serve as an example of how breaching the rules of the silo can result in serious consequences. Howie, the author of Silo, also clarified this through Reddit by emphasizing how the authorities in Silo purposefully perplex the populace to induce giddy to the point of numb obedience. In the Silo Season 1 conclusion, after Juliette is taken prisoner by the silo's enforcement, Martha finally decides to leave her house because she knows that only she can save Juliette. She calls on Carl at the silo's supplies division and requests a favor. A short while later, Juliette gets a package of hush puppies from Martha along with the note, "You wanted the truth. I genuinely do adore you. Don't be afraid. They excel at supply." The note from Martha proves that she has planned for Juliette's survival in the outer world. After remembering Martha's advice, Juliette finally leaves the silo and discovers that the supply personnel who helped her put on her suit sealed the airtight sleeves with high-quality heat tape. As a result of their suits being deliberately sealed with subpart tapes, Allison and Holston perished after exiting the silo. In order to sell them the VR simulation deception of their helmets, they were given suits rather than protective gear. Fortunately for Juliette, her loved ones had her back before she left the underground city, notably Martha. The first season of Silo made multiple allusions to the heat tape in its initial episodes, hinting at Juliette's demise. Bernard continued to blame Juliette for stealing a specific tape from the IT when she took over as sheriff. Even Juliette complained about the tape's poor quality because it degraded much more quickly than the tape she had previously used. This may be an indication that the IT used subpart tape to seal the suits of those leaving the silo. However, Juliette was spared when Martha asked the supply workers to apply good heat to her suit, preventing her from suffering the same fate as the others.